The Dodgers didn't just show up this weekend. They owned it. When the lights got bright, LA reminded everybody who runs the NL West.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. A sweep of the Padres and the Dodgers are back where they belong, the top of their division. Oh yeah, Mookie Betts is looking like that guy again. But while one star rises, another setback hits the lineup. Max Muncy is back on the shelf. Travis, what a weekend for the boys in blue.
It was a tremendous weekend, something they desperately needed. All three of those wins coming on the heels of an ugly losing streak. And today's episode of Locked On Dodgers is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season's right around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your future bets now.
He's Travis Rodgers. I'm Harry Ruiz. Two guys who talk sports for a living and bleed Dodger blue for life. If you're an early bird listener of our show, you can get more Travis on 710 ESPN LA and the ESPN LA app from 9 to noon with the Travis and DeMarco show. As for me, I'm the Spanish play-by-play broadcaster for the Las Vegas Raiders and USC football, but nothing beats jumping on the mic every weekday morning and diving deep into what I love most, talking Dodger baseball with you. Oh, how the tables have turned. We entered the weekend with the Dodgers trailing the Padres by a game in the NL West after San Diego won 5 in a row and LA lost 4 consecutive games. Yes, they started the weekend chasing, but ended it leading with big sweep energy as Los Angeles is once again first in their division. Travis, first, credit where credit is due. Second weekend in a row where the starting pitchers that took the mound put this team in position to succeed. 6 innings of 2-hit ball, 1 run for Clint Kershaw on Friday. 6 scoreless innings from Blake Snell on Saturday, followed up by Tyler Glasnow going 5, where he allowed 6 hits and 2 earned runs. They all had the lead when they were taken out of the game. Over the last 3 days, the starters, 17 innings, surrendering only 13 hits for 3 runs. That's what we needed. That's what the doctor ordered, and Doc got it.
Yeah, Doc did get it, and it was a really encouraging glimpse at what this team might be like in October. It was a really encouraging glimpse as to a blueprint as to what they might be able to do with starting pitching like this, that when you don't have to cover – bullpen innings starting in the 6th inning every single game, the game gets a little more manageable if you're Dave Roberts. The game gets a little more manageable if you're one of those guys down there in the bullpen. You said it, man. Clayton Kershaw got them off to such a great start on Friday night. I mean, I know that he's not vintage Clayton Kershaw anymore, the way that he might have been in the mid-teens, but that was as good as you're going to see. It was just terrific, just fantastic command, competitiveness. At a time when they absolutely had to have it. You said it, Harry. This was a team that was reeling. They had lost 4 in a row. They'd lost 3 in a row to the Angels for the second time this season. They'd fallen out of first place. The Padres were very hot coming in, and Clayton Kershaw does what aces do. He did what Hall of Famers do, and that is not here, not tonight. It's not going like that. I will do everything in my power to put my team in a position to win, and he did. Snell picked up the ball, and kind of a bumpy start into the game, but once he got settled in, he was really good. Tyler Glasnow pretty good along the way, and the bullpen did just enough to keep that thing on track. It was a great weekend, a lot of really positive developments, and they showed a great deal of resiliency.
How about that defense from the Dodgers? Alex Freeland at second base. He stole Manny Machado of a potential go-ahead 2 RBI single in the series finale on Sunday. That same day, Andy Pages got Freddie Fermin at second base when he was trying to extend a single into a double. And then you go to Saturday's game. Will Smith caught 3 runners stealing between the first 2 innings of that game. And that's what you need to play clean baseball, to play fundamentally smart baseball, and you're going to help your pitchers out. And I mean, when you take 3 base runners out of the base paths with your great arm, in this case with Will Smith, that makes Blake Snell having to pitch for 24 outs instead of 27, and it makes the game shorter. It makes the game easier, in air quotes. And the Dodgers, when they are on that type of play, that type of level, they're a team that's going to be very hard to beat. And you're looking at a Padres team that was red hot, a Dodgers team that was coming off of a very depressing sweep against the Angels, and everybody said, okay, that's what they needed. A horse that's on the best shape of their career, one that's kind of like leaning back. And no, the Dodgers said, we got to step it up. They flipped the switch and they got those 3 wins.
This is how, excuse me, this is how playoff games are played. One mistake here or there swings the game from your side to their side, or vice versa. One pitcher gets a big out in a big spot, and all of a sudden what could have been a huge inning becomes a 0 inning. The catcher throws somebody out, an outfield assist, a good heads-up base running play, a bad heads-up base running play. That on these sorts of things, that most of these things this weekend went the Dodgers' way. And this is why I think myself and a lot of Dodger fans out there felt like, while they weren't playing particularly well for the last couple of months, that if they could clean it up, never mind get better, never mind all of a sudden have a guy like Mookie Betts who is heating up, and I know we're going to talk about that coming up in a minute, but just play cleaner baseball, that they're going to be really hard to beat. More often than not, they have better players than their opponent. More often than not, they have a better pitcher on the mound than their opponent. And if you can play clean, it's very difficult to beat a team that's this talented. They just hadn't done it in a long time. They did do it. I thought Saturday was a great example of the difference between a team that took care of what they're supposed to, the Dodgers, and the Padres did all sorts of sloppy, ugly stuff. The Dodgers took advantage of it. And what could have been a close game becomes a little bit, at least as far as this series go, it was the one that was the most comfortable for the Dodgers along the way. This has been their secret sauce. Not only are they more talented, but they play cleaner baseball than most people. They just hadn't done it in a long time, and they did this weekend against San Diego.
Travis, for you, what's a good ERA for a pitcher, for a pitching staff? What's a good number where you're like, hey, I like this?
Well, I think it depends on what we're talking about. I think if we're talking about starting pitchers, anything under about 3.5 is going to be really, really good. If you're talking about a bullpen collectively, I think anything under 4 is pretty good. If you're talking about a guy that's going to get the big outs in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, wherever that may land, I think it needs to be, under 2.5, if not, right around 2. So I think it varies a little bit, but all 3 phases, all 3 levels of their pitching was good. Their starting pitching was good. Their back end was good. And to get from the starting to the back end was good.
You're going to love these numbers then. Starting pitchers over the weekend, 1.59 ERA for the Dodgers.
Love it.
Bullpen 2.7 ERA for the boys in blue. And obviously, Saturday was a shutout, no earned runs, but you go over to Friday's game. Bullpen, only 1 run earned. Then on Sunday's game, where they were used the most because Tyler Glasnow could only go for 5 innings, they were out there for 4 innings. They allowed 2 runs, but they, Iglesias, he got that run over the 8th inning to tie the game, but Mookie Betts got the lead back 3 pitches later once the Dodgers came up to bat. The Dodgers, that's what they needed. And man, you look at the things, the Padres, they had the lead for 1 inning during the whole 3-game set at Chavez Ravine. It's pretty amazing what can happen when you don't shoot yourself in the foot and you just have everybody in sync.
And it wasn't just that everything went perfectly. It's that when it wasn't going perfectly, they minimized the damage. That there were a couple of times where it felt like a big inning was a possibility. In particular, yesterday, that the Padres had guys at base. They had guys in scoring position, 2nd and 3rd, less than 2 outs, 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. And instead of a big crooked number, it was 1 run. And if you give up 1 run an inning here and there, it's not the end of the world. It's when you give up 3 in 1 inning and then 1 in another, that this was a really good example of, you don't have to be perfect. Just don't let it get away from you. And each time the Dodgers had a chance for that thing to get big, They were able to close it down. They were able to get some really good pitching and get some really big outs, whether that was Glasnow early in the game, whether that was some bullpen guys later in the game. And they asked a lot out of a lot of guys. They're going to ask a lot about it, just about everybody down there at this point, and using some guys in some spots that, a month or two ago, I don't think any of us would have been thinking about, but they don't have any different options at this point. And every single person did their job. Not everybody was perfect, but everybody was pretty good.
Travis, over the weekend, I was talking with Pro Football Hall of Famer Eric Allen, who was just inducted less than a month ago, a couple of weeks ago in Canton, Ohio. He's a huge Padres fan. He's from San Diego. And I was telling him, man, the Dodgers, all they got to do is win 2 against the Padres in the next 6 games that they got against them, and they'll win the season series. And that's pretty much an extra game that they have in their pocket against them, because if they end the 2025 season tied with the same record, the Dodgers would have the tiebreaker, direct matchups between them. The Dodgers won all 3. That means that the season series right now, 8-2. 3 series between Dodgers and Padres. The Dodgers have won all 3 of them, including a sweep. But let's say this. Yes, we're all excited. We're all on cloud 9 right now. We still got a little bit under 40 games left in the season, including 3 more against the Padres. You got to take care of business this week against the Rockies. You got to win that series. 3-1 at the minimum, or get the sweep and pad that lead a little bit more, and then go to San Diego and not get swept.
I think that's it exactly. This is an opportunity to create the distance we have been hoping they would be able to create over the last month or so. Now all of a sudden you get a really bad Rockies team. You're hot all over again. You created just a teeny tiny bit of daylight between yourself and the Padres, and you get the Padres on the back end of this week all over again. An opportunity to not just beat them again, but to really kind of get inside their heads. I think that, like you just mentioned, the Padres have only beat the Dodgers twice this year, and the Dodgers have not only won most of those games, they've won a handful of those games pretty convincingly. Now, I get it. When you get to October, none of that means anything. They're both 0-0 again, and you got to start from scratch. But this is, I thought, a really good weekend and a really good representation of the veteran players that these guys have that will not panic, that will not do the things that you do not expect veteran players to do. And I think that sets the tone for some of the younger guys, whether that's Freeland, whether that's Call, whether that's some of these guys that might not have been through this 100 times like these other guys. There was a level of professionalism. There was a level of calmness throughout the Dodgers this weekend that I thought was really impressive.
So we talked a lot about the arms, the pitchers that delivered for the boys in blue. The bats, one of them just came out, and this was his party telling everybody, I'm back. Next on Locked On Dodgers, after weeks and weeks of waiting, worrying about Mookie Betts' performance, he finally looks like he's back. But is this just a hot stretch, or is it the real turning point of his season?
This episode of Locked On Dodgers is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy platform that lets you turn your football predictions into real rewards. Preseason, we're almost done with the preseason. Harry loves that. I love that. And the regular season is right around the corner. College football, not too far behind either. So whether you've got your eye on a big-name quarterback or breakout running backs, Prize Picks makes it easy to get in the game. You can do futures right now. Take a look at Joe Burrow. Take a look at Saquon. You think they're going to have great years all over again? What about Josh Allen? What about Aaron Rodgers, right? That could be a mess. Maybe you want to go a little less at Aaron Rodgers. That's what I'm talking about with Prize Picks. And with the flex option play, it is a total game changer. Even when one of your picks misses, you can still double your money. Plus, Prize Picks puts members first, so withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Don't forget to follow Locked On Dodgers not only on YouTube, but on X, Instagram, and TikTok as well. You can find Travis on social media at Travis Rodgers on X and Instagram. Meanwhile, I'm at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, and at Harry Ruiz_ on TikTok. Let us know if you think the Mookie that we know and love is back for good in 2025. It was August 8th when Mookie Betts said that his season was kind of over and that he was going to take a day-to-day approach to things the rest of the way. Well, Betts has gotten hitless only twice in his last 11 games, having a batting average of 341 in that span and hitting the game-winning home run in the 8th inning against the Padres on Sunday afternoon. Travis, you're seeing the confidence in him, the joy, and just him having fun in the baseball diamond. How vital is this for the Dodgers' chances to succeed in 2025?
I think you said the most important word of all, Harry. We saw, Dodger fans saw the emotion on his face coming around second base after he hit that home run to give him the lead in the bottom of the 8th inning. Look, I understand it's a big series. I'm not minimizing the series at all, but there's still 39 games left. The Dodgers are still exceptionally likely to make the playoffs. They're still the favorites to win the division. But Mookie Betts responded like that was a playoff home run. The outpouring of emotion was real, and you can't fake that. And it wasn't just that it gave his team the lead. It wasn't just that he finally, contributed to a big moment in an important game. You could tell it was a catharsis of, kind of, I'm back. And we talked about this a lot over the last month or two. I get it. When this season's done and you go to baseballreference.com and you look at Mookie Betts in 2025, you're going to scratch your head and go, what the heck happened in that year? That doesn't mean there can't be another World Series champion at the end of that line. It doesn't mean that there even can't be an NLCS MVP, a World Series MVP. He can't get the big hit because he absolutely can. Mookie Betts is still Mookie Betts, even though this season hasn't gone the way that he's supposed to. And if he's good from now through the end of the line, no one's going to care what happened from April until the middle of August. Just be Mookie for a month and a half. All that other stuff goes away. And I really do think, and I'm knocking on wood right now, I really do think the last 2-3 weeks are an incredibly positive indicator of he may have found him. He's hitting the ball harder. He's taking more pitches. He's getting on base. And he just seems like there's a lightness to him, a little, for lack of a better word, a bounce in his step that was not there for the almost the entirety of the regular season up until this point.
And do you remember me saying he went hitless twice in his last 11 games? Those 2 games he went hitless were Friday and Saturday. But on Friday, he had a sac fly with the Dodgers taking the lead with it in that game. And then on Saturday, he took a walk in the first inning. He ended up scoring the second run of the game when they won 6-0. And on Sunday, same thing. He was over until the 8th inning when he got that solo home run, his second home run in that 11 game. Exactly. You look at a player that is playing differently, and look, it's a thing that if you're a professional athlete, it gets in your mind. If you're not performing, if you're not doing the things the way that you're getting paid as one of the best salaries in baseball, it gets in your mind. But Mookie Betts, it's baseball. You just have to wait, and eventually it's going to come around for a guy like him. Like Conforto, he had a good weekend as well, but I had a more confidence on Mookie doing that and recovering, and like the front office did. Let's not sign a lot of players or bring players via trade because we have these guys in the clubhouse, and it's sooner rather than later that they're going to start performing. And Mookie, he is that way now where it's like, okay, the starting shortstop for the Dodgers, we don't have to worry about him in the plate. He's going to produce for the team, either getting on base with a walk, getting home, or getting the big hits in crucial moments to help this team win.
It changes everything when he's playing like everybody knows that he can. It changes the way that Shohei can approach at-bats. It changes the way that Freddie Freeman can approach at-bats. And perhaps more than anything, Harry, it changes the way that opposing pitchers have to navigate that gauntlet of 4 or 5 guys at the top of the order. Look, every pitcher that comes into Dodger Stadium or faces the Dodgers, you got to start the game with quite possibly one of the greatest players ever staring at you. Like, okay, here we go. You jump in there. You know that Freddie Freeman's having a Freddie Freeman year. You know that Will Smith is going to get some MVP votes. So, but there was this little island for the first part of the season where, hey, look, Mookie's in a bad way. You can attack Mookie. He's not nearly the dangerous hitter that he typically was. And it just gave you a little bit of an escape hatch to get out of some tricky spots if you found yourself there. Not anymore. From Shohei to real Mookie Betts to Freddie to Will Smith, you're starting to see Teoscar Hernandez come back to life a little bit. Hopefully Max Muncy gets back and is healthy and ready to go. We'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit. But it just connects all of these pieces together. And I don't care how good your pitching is. to get through Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, and Smith. That's 4 guys 4 times a night, 16 at-bats, 16 plate appearances. To get through that cleanly every game, good luck. Good luck with that, because they're going to get you at some point, and that's the secret sauce to the Dodgers.
And how about Teoscar Hernandez hitting home runs on Friday and Saturday? That's another big element for the team. And then Dave Roberts also bringing Freddie Freeman down to the cleanup spot, putting Will Smith up at the third spot in the lineup, not mattering much where he usually loves getting lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty all throughout the lineup. With the way that the Dodgers were playing and are playing now, he doesn't feel that he needs to have that platoon back and forth with guys on the side of the plate that they're batting, because when guys are delivering, it doesn't matter how you have them. You have the advantage whenever they're up at bat, no matter who they bring out of the bullpen, if it's a lefty or a righty.
Yeah, I think there's that's a big part of it. And I think, just to kind of go to the more artistic side of baseball and the less scientific side, it's, hey, we've been doing this. This doesn't work. Let's just, sometimes just trying something for the sake of trying something. I know that that's usually kind of a pointless, goofy thing. It's nope. It says if we put these guys in this order, this is the best combination. Yeah, cool. It's not working. How about we try something different? And I think that's probably part of it as well. Maybe it unlocks some guys. Maybe you can go back to more the way it was. And, we'll see what it looks like when Tommy Edmonds is back. We'll see what it looks like when Max Muncy is back, and maybe Hae-Sung Kim when he comes back, if he's getting some at-bats, that you can continue to tinker with this lineup a little bit. But to kind of come full circle, Harry, that Mookie being Mookie Betts, that is like getting an all-star at the deadline. That is like getting an MVP dropped into the middle of your order, and that he's back. That is the best news of all. Yeah,
well, the saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, if it is broke, fix it. And the Dodgers right there, that simple move, having Will bat third and have Freddie clean up, the lineup looks better than it has in a while. But not everything was perfect for the boys in blue this weekend. And coming up on Locked On Dodgers, unfortunate news on the injury front for the Dodgers, as one of their most important players is on the IL again.
August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches, right? For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this could be your moment. Maybe you're thinking about, what? I just know who's getting ready to have a big, huge, enormous year. MVP odds, right? How about Josh Allen going back-to-back? Really, really like that one. Maybe you're thinking who's going to win the Super Bowl all over again. Yes, I host Locked On Rams. Don't call me a homer, but don't look too far other than right down the road here in Los Angeles. Or you could parlay your division winners into dark horse payers, right? So visit the FanDuel app today and start paying or planning your futures right now, because Futures Day is only one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game.
Thanks for making us your first listen wherever you may be tuning in, either on your favorite podcast app or our YouTube channel. Smash that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Full episodes, hot takes, breaking Dodgers news, and the Dodgers postcast show live with Pete Fox after the final out of every game. If it drops, you're on it. That's how you become an everyday here on Locked On Dodgers, like Juan, who last week said the Dodgers need to wake up starting Friday or they can kiss the division goodbye. Well, mission accomplished. Now they need to keep it up without one of the main pieces in their lineup being on the injured list for the second time in less than a month and a half. As starting third baseman Max Muncy has a grade 1 oblique strain that has had him out since the series finale against the Angels last Thursday. Manager Dave Roberts says that it's a safe bet that Muncy will be on the IL beyond 10 days, but doesn't expect it to be a season-ending injury. What worries me, Travis, is that Muncy dealt with a similar injury in 2024 that had him out of action for 3 months, limiting him to 73 games in the regular season.
Yeah, no, this is one of those injuries that you can tell me whatever you want. Fine. I'm going to wait until I see him back in the batter's box, and I'm going to wait to see what he looks like when he gets back in there, because you can say 10 days, a couple of weeks. Okay, fine. But like you just mentioned, Harry, we've seen that before. And then a couple of months go by and the guy's still not back. And just if he comes back doesn't mean that he's guaranteed to be back. And, we saw Muncy when he's locked in, he changes that lineup nearly as much as anybody else in the lineup. But if he's got an injury, especially an oblique injury like that, that's certainly something that can linger. And this is a big deal. Now, can they win the World Series without Max Muncy? Yeah, you can. Or do you have are your odds down significantly? I think so. I think he's that important to what they do. I want to go back to what one of the everydayers wrote to you, that I don't think you could have kissed the division goodbye had the Dodgers not had a clean sweep this weekend. It certainly is really good news. But keep in mind, the Dodgers could turn around in Colorado and split this series, or God forbid, lose the series. San Diego is going to keep playing. It is far from over. It's nice to take a deep breath. It's nice to say, all right, back on top where they belong, but there's still a long way to go. Dodgers, it's funny, they really only play two more good teams the rest of the way. They play the Phillies and they play the Padres one more time. Other than that, they got a bunch of soft targets. So it's really good news for the Dodgers. But we saw them with a bunch of soft targets of late, and they did not take care of business.
That's what I was going to say. I don't know if that's good or bad, because
Right.
they step it up against the good teams, and against bad teams, they're like, we just got enough talent. We're going to win. That's how it looks from the outside looking in. But going back to the Max Muncy situation, he's going to start some rotational work today, Monday. It'll be a big indicator for how he's feeling. But I want to take it into a bigger aspect of everything. He turns 35 years old next Monday.
Yeah.
His contract ends at the end of the season. With him not playing more than likely over 100 games now, back-to-back years, is this a situation where it's like, we might have to look into Alex Freeland potentially being the long-term solution for the Dodgers at third base? Or do you want to have a guy that's going to be in his mid-30s and has had oblique injuries over the last 2 seasons and sign him to a big deal for 2026 and beyond, and then have him at the hot corner for a couple of more years?
I think it is the question of the offseason. We'll see what happens between now and the end of the season, the playoffs, how they play, how he plays, how he's available, whether they win or not. Again, I think all of these things will factor into it a little bit, but you put your finger on the two most important things, which is his age and his injury history. And look, he is an incredible hitter for the Dodgers. He's going to hit a bunch of home runs for you. We've proven that, right? He is a 30 home run bat. But he's getting into that point in his career where he's going to be expensive and he's going to be available sometimes as opposed to all of the time. So it is a big deal. I put it to you this way, and this is where I think that Dodger fans can feel their best. This is the sort of deal they make or don't make that I feel really comfortable with, because Andrew Friedman is the one making the decision. They very rarely make bad deals for players like this. If there's a way to work it out that Max Muncy gets kind of the money that he's looking for without tying the Dodgers into a long-term deal where they're carrying a guy who makes a ton of money who isn't productive anymore, great. I think they'll find a way to do it. But I also believe that the Dodgers are in a spot where if they have to walk away from him because they just get priced out of the market, and not priced that they can't afford it, but priced out in the sense that that's a bad deal, we're not going to do it, they will. And I think that's the secret sauce of this team.
And look, Max deserves the bag. He deserves getting a good payday with what could potentially be his last contract as a Major League Baseball player. But at the same time, the Dodgers are going to be smart. And if they have what they feel might be the next guy coming up in the minor leagues or already on the roster right now, they will make that decision. Max as well, I feel like he wants to stay a Dodger. He wants to continue playing for the boys in blue. He's up there when it comes to home runs, wearing a Dodgers jersey. So it's also what gives? Are you cool with taking less dollars, staying in LA, being with the Dodgers, or are you going to try to get as many dollars in that contract as possible?
If he's going to get the big bag, it won't be here. I feel very comfortable in saying that. If someone's going to come in and do something where Max Muncy's making, I don't know, $20+ million a year or so. I'm making up numbers here, and the Dodgers feel I'll round this off. If somebody's going to pay him 20 and the Dodgers have him tabbed for like a $12 million player, they're not going to do that. They just simply won't do that. They'll walk away from it. We've seen them do it time after time. Muncy is, he's going to be one of those guys that 20 years from now, guys our age, will be like, man, Max Muncy, you didn't know that guy was incredibly important. He's not going to the Hall of Fame. He's not getting his number retired, but he's very important to what they do. And hopefully he's here for a while, but the Dodgers can get very businesslike very quickly with guys that are getting into a certain age, especially guys that aren't. That's why with Freddie and Mookie, you were a little more comfortable doing what you did with them long term. They play every day. They're out there day after day, week after week, month after month. Max Muncy really hasn't been able to do that.
Injury updates with position players. Kike Hernandez, Ha-Seong Kim took live batting practice at Dodger Stadium on Sunday. Dave Roberts said that both are going out on AAA rehab assignments this week for OKC. Kike is going to be important. Swinging a bat was what brought him the most discomfort while playing with his left elbow issue. On another player, Tommy Edman, he started baseball activities. They're still targeting early September for his return. Those are three guys that can definitely help the Dodgers, especially with the way that they have been needing to rely on players like Alex Freeland with no big league experience, Alex Call, who hasn't played much this season, both with the Nationals and now with the Dodgers.
Look, they've got some guys like if we're talking vibes, Kike is incredibly important because Kike he's all about vibes. And in October, the dude seems to turn into King Kong and no one can get him out. So that's always fun. But Tommy Edman is a guy that fixes so many things, not your batting order. He's a switch hitter, but he can play anywhere and play anywhere well. It gives you a ton of options when he's back. Of all the guys that they don't have right now, Muncy number one, but Edman is a close second as far as what he can do with your team.
Then on the pitching front, rehab week in general with Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott also going on assignment. So it seems like the Dodgers are getting healthy right as we're going down to the home stretch of the regular season. I know that they haven't been the best when they've been on the mound for the great majority of their relief appearances, but it's better having them than not.
They're going to need them. Both of those guys are going to have to pitch and have to pitch well. If Tanner Scott pitches well, it changes everything. If he doesn't, what you saw this weekend, which is a lot of high wire act and hoping to get one extra out in a big moment in October, that could give us all heart attacks.
And that'll do it now for today's show. From Travis and I, thanks for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen. If you're still craving more baseball talk, have the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night be your second listen. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find it on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. And also catch Pete Fox after every Dodgers game on our YouTube channel with his live postcast. We'll be back on Tuesday to talk about the Dodgers kicking off a 4-game series against the Rockies in Colorado. It's bounce back time for Yoshinobu Yamamoto and no more letdowns facing teams with losing records, Travis.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know if anybody's ever looking for a bounce back at Coors Field, but here's having your fingers crossed.
I mean, it can't go much worse than it did in Angel Stadium. So,
True.
Or I hope I didn't just put that out there in the universe. We appreciate you riding with us. Until next time, keep it real. Keep it Dodger Blue.